Domain and range of a relation. The domain is the set of all input values for a relation. In other words, your x values. Now your range, on the other hand, is the set of all output values for a relation. It's your y values. In this particular relation here, this set of ordered pairs, what you see there in blue in the x place, x values, that is your input. So those numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the numbers that you see in red, the y values, are going to be your output. So my range is 0, 3, 6, 9, and 12. In this example, we're asked to give the domain and range of the relation and then indicate whether the relation defines a function. So here we're given the relation of a table of values and asked to determine whether it's a function or not. Well, recall in class that you can easily identify whether it's a function or not by simply looking at your x values. Recall that your x values cannot repeat themselves, otherwise it will fail the vertical line test. So let's take a look at our x values. Notice that they're all different and unique. No values repeat. So therefore, this is a function. Now let's determine what is the domain of this function. So recall the domain is your set of x values or your input. So here we have our domain to be -5, 0, and 5. Recall the range is your output or your set of y values. I only see one number, and yes, they repeat themselves, and that's fine. With a regular function, it is okay if your y values repeat themselves, but your x values cannot repeat themselves. So we only have one number as our output or range, and that number is simply 2. In this example, we're asked to indicate whether the relation defines as a function and then give the domain and range of this relation. So let's first answer the question as to whether this is or is not a function. So remember what you have to do. All you have to do is simply look at your x values and see if any of them repeat themselves. As you can see here, all of your x values repeat themselves, so therefore this cannot be a function. Now let's find the domain of this function. So recall the domain is your set of x values or your inputs, and in this particular case we only have one number as our input, and that number is 5. Now let's look at our output, our y values. As we can see in y's place, I have a 0, a -3, a 4, a 3, and a -1. And that is my range.